Good morning and welcome to my latest video. Something a bit different. I'm in my kitchen, as you can see. This is another camera, just in case you wonder what that is all about. And today we're going to look at test kits. So phosphate is one of the most important parameters to test. And so what we're going to take a look at today is the Nyos test kit and also the Tropic Marin PO4 Pro test kit as well. So as I say, very important test kits, and we're going to dive in and have a look and see what to do. So I'm going to test, got some salt water here. That is from my Red Sea Max Nano Peninsula. So let's dive in. So I'm just going to change the camera angle. There you go. So we've got a bit of a top-down view there. And we're going to do the phosphate one first of all, because that takes about 10 minutes to do, and then we're going to move on to that, and that takes 4 minutes. So just making sure the sound's okay. Brilliant, it's all good. So let's go with the phosphate. So what's in the box? I'm not going to go through this too much. So I've been using this test kit for quite a while. This is the second one, and this is nearly empty. So that's the reagent that you put in first. And then, which is pretty much standard, you get a powder. Put the water in, instructions, not that it's that difficult, and then the actual thing itself. So it's in a number of different languages, really easy to use. So first of all, you have to rinse out. So I've rinsed them out earlier on. And then you're looking to put 20 ml of water in each one. Like so, and then another 20, like so, there. And then what I tend to do, the reagent always goes in the end one. I find you've got a little bit of a cutaway there that you can just see there, and then give it a good shake. Now this bottle's coming towards the end of its life, and there's much left. Now what I find in the Nyos one, you have to put 10 drops in, but sometimes the first drop is quite difficult to do and you can mess it up. So that's the downside of this. You might be able to see it just coming out now. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Put that down. Now you're supposed to give it a swirl. And the problem is with other ones, it tells you how long to swirl it for. But with this one, it doesn't. So I usually do about 10 seconds, and that's about it. I'm kind of not really counting. So that's that there. And then you've got the reagent. And these, I mean, problem with test kits, they're very much subject to your own mistakes. So you've got to put 20 ml in there. So you've got to think, well, how good is 20 ml? How accurate are you? 10 drops, that's pretty straightforward. And then when you do this, it's supposed to be a level spoon. Now, is that level? Just about. But I mean, what happens if you put too much in or slightly too less? What happens? Not too sure. You probably get an inaccurate reading. So tap it in, as you can see there. And screw it up and then give it a good shake. Say for 10 seconds. Let's see. Right, now the timer for this goes on for 10 minutes. So I'm just going to put that over here. Right, that's on for 10 minutes. Nice and easy, as you can see. Just going to move that out to one side. And then we move on to the phosphate hand here. So there's the instructions there. 15 ml in each of the tubes. And then you've got 10 drops, and then you've got 3 drops. So this one is liquid for both, which I think helps. The only thing I would say, the Tropic Marin, I think it's a bit tight. You've got a cardboard holder as opposed to the Nyos, which is sort of polystyrene stroke foam. Maybe that's reflected in the price, not too sure. Right, so there we go. There's the test tubes there. That one makes up, say, 20, but you only need 15. They're quite easy to follow. Nice and big, as you can probably see there through the camera. 15 mil there. That goes in there. And then the other one is 15 mil there. Nice and easy. And then you've got the reagent A. Now, what you do see, this says 12 drops on it, but it's actually 10 because this doubles at both a salt water and a fresh water. But there is a test card that says salt water there, and I've been the other one so I don't get confused. Give that a good shake if I haven't done already. Pick that up, and then let's see if we can get 10 into that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. That's that done. Screw that on. I've got to say, the component parts in the Tropic Marin don't seem as good as the Nyos one, but I mean, it's a test kit. Screw that back up. And then B, and that does actually say 3 drops on that, which it says on the instructions as well. And here we go. 1, 2, 3. All done, nice and easy. Give that a good shake. And then that will go for 4 minutes. Hi guys, thanks for joining. Thanks for Rob. Yeah, I always scrape. Let's get that comment up. I always scrape over the spoon with the bottle cap to make sure it's a level spoon. That's a fair point there, Rob. Hi, Drippy. Hope you're good. And a safe journey back from Rotherham. So what I would say is I've been using these. I like both of them. The best kit I've ever had is the Nyos. Now you're saying, why am I not doing a review of that? Well, I've run out, and in the UK they don't sell that anymore. So that's a bit of a pain. So I've kind of trying out some other ones now. And the reason why it's one of the best ones I've used is because sometimes people have problems with the color schemes. With this one, as you can see on camera, as it moves from 0.024 right up to 0.43, you can see the color changes. Now, if you look at the colors on these, this is the Tropic Marin one. It's pretty good, actually. And I've used it a few times, and that is good. And also then you've got the Nyos one, which again is quite comparable. And as you can move through, you can see the colors change quite a bit. What I would say, this card, once I've been using this quite a while, it gets damaged pretty quickly. And as I say, the Tropic Marin one, I don't think the components are as good quality as the Nyos, whereas this one has I suppose a film over it, not quite laminated, but you can spill water in it. And I'm a really messy reefer, so that has lasted me quite a while. And I say I'm towards the end of this. This has got 50. That's got 50 tests in it, and so has that got 50. Now, why don't I use something like the Hannah checker? The reason why I use these is because I've got 3 tanks, and to use a Hannah checker for phosphate 3 times a week, because I test every week, is going to be really expensive. So that's why I've gone for that. Now, if you look at the cost of these, they're quite comparable. So the Tropic Marin in the UK at the moment is £19.99, and the Nyos is on a discount at the moment, £17.27. So actually, not much in it in terms of cost. And the actual Tropic Marin one, you can get a refill kit on that, and the refill kit on that is £11. So that's not much money for a test kit. Whereas the Hannah, I haven't priced it up, but you're probably talking £60, should we say, roughly, for a Hannah kit. And then you've got the reagents, which I think some reagents can cost up to about £1 a test. I don't know what the phosphate one is, but it's not my bag. Now, what I would say is before I test any kits, I always test the salinity. So there's two things I use for this. You've got the refractometer here, which I find is really, really good. This is the second one I had. This is the DD one. I had a Red Sea one for about 10 years. But what you find is that you can adjust this, but the screw hole there seems to get damaged. I think I probably damaged it with salt. So this is fairly new, only about 4 or 5 months old. And then you've got the Hannah salinity kit here, which is really, really simple. Take off the cap. You can take off the cap, turn it on. And then actually what you do, you make sure it's got 1 SG, pop that in. I don't think you can actually see. Let's put that up there. But this hasn't been calibrated. So the temperature's showing 23.9 and it's actually showing 1.023. So I might have to check that with the refractometer. I checked that yesterday and it was 1.025. So that's something I need to check just in case. Oh, there goes the tinger. For our 4 minutes on the phosphate, let's just move that out of the way. It's like a cooking program. Right, where is that? So I'm not too sure if it's actually going to show up very well on the camera because usually I pop outside to see what it's all about. So let's have a look. Don't know if you, there we go. You can see it better than I thought you could. I think if I move that along, move under the camera a bit more. There we go. So I think that one is too dark. So I make that to be, that's going to be 0.05, which is pretty standard for that tank. Although you could say that should move on a little bit. As I say, no, from bird's eye view, that is certainly darker than that one, even though that isn't necessarily coming out on the camera. So if I go to there, yeah, I think that one is a 0.05, not 0.5. That would be far too high, although I've had that on the tank before. So let's move that out of the way. So we have just got, how many minutes? We've got 1 minute 40 for that. So let's go back to this. So I have noticed with the Hannah sometimes it needs calibrating every time, and I haven't calibrated it this time. I haven't got any solution near me to show you what that's about. So that's really, really quick. I find the temperature is really accurate on this one, but not so much the salinity. But I will need to check that out to make sure my salinity hasn't dropped, but it shouldn't have. I did test on all the tanks yesterday, and it was 1.025 on that side. Let's see if we've got any other comments. So, yeah, morning, Rob. Thanks for joining MS Reef. I'm going to ignore you, Drippy, with your comment. And yes, it is a bit weird being a chef in the morning. But there we go. So any questions you got about this? I think they're both pretty good kits. I think in terms of cost, there's nothing really much between them. They're both fairly easy to read in terms of off of the card. It'd be interesting. I've not done the same test in 2 different kits. It'd be interesting to see if the Tropic Marin one or the Nyos one comes out any different to the Tropic Marin. But then that could be user error. You don't know on that side. But we shall see. It's only got about 30 seconds now, or 18 seconds, so we'll get to it quite quickly. So there we have it now. I'm going to unscrew that in anticipation to see what goes on. I'm not going to have a sneak peek until it goes off. Let's turn that off. Those batteries last quite a long time on that one, I've got to say. There we go. Right, let's see if I can get this under the camera without spilling any water or anything else. And you can see that this is wet. It's beginning to go a bit crappy already. Not very good. Right, so let's put this on here. Right, so that's quite high up. That's not right. As we move it along, I don't know if you can see that. The light might be taking that away. As I say, it's harder to do under this light. Now, 0.1, it's definitely not that. 0.75. I'd say it's a mix between not quite 0.05 and not quite 0.075. It seems to be a colour in between. So I'd say it's fairly accurate. I'm going to set it at 0.075. So there's a slight difference there between the Tropic Marin and the Nyos. Now, is that accurate? I'm not too sure. But if you have a look at it, it's with a range. And let's face it, if your phosphate is 0.050 or 0.075, it probably doesn't matter. It's not going to affect your tank. You probably wouldn't take too much of that. I mean, I suppose if you're aiming for 0.05, you might take no action. But at 0.075, you might take some action. Not too sure on that side. So there's, I think it's pretty good. Now let's have a look. Looks like the Nyos has more range. That's a good point. Let's do that. So we got 10 there, and we have 10 here. And actually, I think they're quite comparable. So you go obviously from 0, and that's below 0.01, and then it go through the range. So the Tropic Marin is 0.02, 3, 5, 7, 1. What's that? There's 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.5, and 1. This one has 0, 25, 50, 75, 1. So if you have a look at it, you've got 4 up to 1. And on this one, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So at the lower range, you could argue there's a bit more in terms of range. And then above 1, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On this one, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the Tropic Marin, it's got another, I suppose, another measurement below 1, whereas this one hasn't. I haven't got any Hannah. The reason why I haven't got Hannah is really for the cost. I've got 3 tanks, and I test those 3 tanks every week. So these kits are relatively cheap, whereas a Hannah is more expensive. If I had 1 tank, I know people that do try the Hannah all the time. And you've got the phosphate and the phosphorus, I think, as well. So I don't know too much about those, but I don't use them just purely out of cost. And I've used manual test kits the whole time I've been in the hobby, which is nearly 10 years. And it works pretty well for me anyway. But I understand if sometimes it can be hard to gauge the colours on here, especially under light in your kitchen. So I can get why people go for the digital version, which is the Hannah, obviously. So that's it. So thank you for watching. Any questions, then please put in the comments afterwards. If you could like this video, that would be absolutely fantastic. And maybe subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. But I hopefully enjoyed this video, and it's been useful if you're looking to get into different test kits. There's 2 different ones there. And maybe try to handle if that's for you. But for now, thank you for watching. We're back live this Friday, as usual, from 8 o'clock UK time. But for now, have a great Monday. And hopefully see you on the next video. Bye for now.